almost to my end of the passage, then ride back to the other end, leading them through the fire fields again. 2 or 3 rides back and forth, and the lizard men were corpses, heaped up amid the dwindling flames. The rest was 2 minutes' worth of cleanup. One by one I clicked on the dead bodies, carving off hides and then cutting the hides into sheets of spined leather, which I stowed away in my horse's pack. I had a regular customer for the leather, a guy who seemed to live in Eastern Europe somewhere and paid 30,000 gold pieces for every 1,000 sheets. What he did with all that leather I had no idea, but as long as he kept paying for it, I didn't really care. Eventually, my horse's pack was full, and it was time for me to make a quick run to the bank. A random lizard man was approaching me, bent on murder. "Vestimsa," it growled. I hit it with a lightning bolt, just for laughs, then teleported magically to the busy capital city of Britain, where, amid the usual crowd of fellow adventurers gathered outside the bank to hawk their loot, I deposited my own in a private bank box, clicking the horse's backpack open and dragging its burden onto the pile of leather already accumulated in the box. Then I teleported back to the entrance to despise and prepared to ride in for another session of lizard whacking. "What's up?" said the lone horseman, loitering on the small meadow just outside the dungeon portal. The stranger stood some 30 paces from where I'd materialized, and his greeting was written in light blue letters that hovered just above his little cartoon image on my screen, like a thought balloon. "Heya," I typed back. "Was ort flam," he replied, casting a spell, obviously, though I couldn't have said exactly which one. "Corp por," he added, whereupon my computer speakers rumbled with the sound of an explosion, and my own little cartoon image was surrounded with a cartoon cloud of fire and smoke. There immediately followed the sound of an electric crackle and the sight of a blue bolt of energy emanating from the stranger toward me, and it was only as the bolt hit home that I realized at last that for the first time since I'd started playing this game, I was under attack by a fellow player. By then it was more or less too late. Standing to fight was out of the question. The attacker's magery skill clearly outclassed mine by a good 20 points, so I turned to flee. Sheer cliffs blocked my escape on one side, however, and deep water blocked it on the other, so in the end all I could do was run in circles, hoping to make a difficult target for the enemy's cursor. This didn't last long. The first 2 spells had sapped my strength to within a few hit points of death, and the next energy bolt that hit me finished the job. My screen dimmed for a moment, and in the next moment a dead body, mine, lay on the ground at my horse's feet. I was now a gray, shrouded ghost standing impotently over the corpse as my slayer came to loot it. "Fucking noob," he said after a quick examination of my backpack's contents. "Next time bring something worth taking. Maybe then I won't do this," he added, loosing an energy bolt at my horse, which immediately dropped dead. "Ah, you bastard," I typed. But I knew there wasn't much point. Ghosts couldn't talk, and all the killer would see on his screen when I typed was a pathetic moaning, "Ooh, ooh." Besides, he was already halfway gone, disappearing in a haze of sparkly pixels as he teleported off. There was nothing left for me to do but run through my usual post-death routine. Set out walking, find a healer who could resurrect me, walk back to my corpse, gather up my clothes and reagents, teleport back to Britain, buy a new horse, stable it, and call it a night. I logged out and switched off the monitor. It was 3 a.m., and a good moment, all things considered, to take stock of the pursuit that had been occupying most of my leisure time for the last 3 months. The bolt-casting stranger had just rudely reminded me of my place in the hierarchy that bound the hundreds of thousands of players who shared this game space with me. He was right. I was a noob. A newbie. Bottom-most rung on the ladder of accomplishment, and fated, therefore, to endure from time to time the sort of humiliation that had just befallen me. Vanquished, I suppose, would have been the properly swashbuckling word for the condition he'd reduced me to. But players generally preferred variations on a phrase that sounded somewhat more like prison slang and somehow felt more appropriate. I'd been owned, ownzered, pwned. This was educational. The experience hadn't felt good exactly.